Burial family. Today, I have another interesting recipe to share with you. We're going to be making a very, very fast and easy coconut and oat cookies. I know when you hear the word cookies, you might start to wonder, cookies, weight gain, oh, fat, oh, cholesterol, oh, sugar, oh. But don't worry. You see these cookies we're making today? It's made with dates, honey, and no fattening butter or margarine at all. It's made with wholesome olive oil. So just stay tuned while I introduce all the ingredients to you and also share with you the recipe that we have for you today. So for starters, this is the oats we're going to be using. Oats is a very, very unique type of grain and is used in baking because it does not contain gluten. You see, wheat contains gluten, but oats does not contain gluten. And that's why when you're baking with oats, you do not expect it to rise and turn around fluffy and all of that. But it's very, very high in fiber, right? So this is oats. And then I have milk here. Milk is very, very important for this recipe because it gives richness and depth to our cookie. It makes the cookie, first of all, smell very nice and, of course, taste very, very rich. And here I have dates. I have already blended this date. What I did was to soak it first. After it became soft, I removed the seeds and then blended it on a ratio of 2 to 1. So where I have 2 cups of dates, I add 1 cup of water so that I can blend it to get this consistency. And of course, coconuts, which is the star ingredient of this recipe. It's very, very important for this recipe because it helps to give crunch and texture to the cookies. And of course, you know, coconuts are also very, very high in omega-3 oils. Very, very good for the health and very, very good for your heart as well. Um, and this is olive oil, the heart-friendly oil. You don't want to skip on this. We're not using any butter or margarine. We're only using olive oil for this cookie. And here I have my blended almonds and cashew nuts. When you're talking about the king of nuts, you know we're referring to almonds, right? And then of course, cashew nuts is another nut I love so much. So I first of all roasted them before I blended them. So it gives that delightful aroma to everything I bake with. And then of course, salt. I always say that you don't want to skip on salt. Small but mighty ingredient. If you skip on salt in your baking, it ends up tasting flat. Salt helps with the taste and also helps with the texture of whatever it is you're baking. So skipping on salt is a big no. And here I have cinnamon. It's optional, but I just like the flavor that cinnamon gives whenever I'm baking. So I'm going to be adding a little bit of cinnamon to this cookie. And of course, baking powder, because this is a cookie. You know, it has to have that crunch, and that is what baking powder gives it. It gives it rise and it gives it that crunchy and chewy flavor. It's a leavening agent. And here is my honey. I'm going to be adding a little bit of honey for sweetness, not just for sweetness, also for browning. Because while this cookie is baking, it needs to have that brownness inside it, and that's exactly what honey does to the cookie. The king of binding, the flour. Without flour in this recipe, the cookie is not going to hold together. So this is flour I have. I'm going to be adding to the cookie just to make everything hold and combine together to give it structure, right? And then last but not least, water. I'll be adding water carefully because what I have here is liquid milk and I have my dates that has been blended with water, and of course I have honey. So it is more or less optional, but as you go, check the consistency as we discussed about yesterday in class. When you check the consistency, you see if you really need to add more water or little water, but don't just go and follow the recipe and add water as it says without checking the consistency of what you're baking. It's going to be very, very misleading. So let's get right into it. As a rule of thumb, we always start with our dry ingredients first. Remember, dry ingredients go in first. So we're going to be weighing in 1 cup of the oats. So here I have 1 cup of oats, pouring it into the bowl. And then 1 cup of the flour. So I just want to make sure it's equal, you know. Good. So it just has to reach that mark. It's it's not going to reach this point. It's just going to reach this mark, and that's where you know you have 1 cup, right? So I'm going in with this. Good. I hope you can see what I have here. Good. Next dry ingredient I'm going to be measuring is the salt and baking powder. So I'm going to be using this, my measuring spoon. Open up the baking powder and measure 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1 teaspoon of baking powder goes right in here. I'm going in with 1/4 teaspoon of salt. You can see this? Pour it in. Then 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon as well. Goes right in here. Now I'm going to give this a good mix before I proceed. I always say that you have to make sure you incorporate, especially at the point you add salt. Make sure you mix it properly so that you don't have one side tasting salty and another side tasting sweet, especially if you're using powdered sugar. But at this point, our sweet ingredients are wet, but you still want to make sure you combine them very, very well. So I've given it a good point. I'm going to continue. Now I'm going to go in with the nuts, the coconut, and the other nuts I have. Okay. So because I can, I'm going to be adding 1 tablespoon each of both the almonds and the cashew nuts. So 1 tablespoon. I just want you to see what I'm doing. I'm going to measure 1 tablespoon. Yeah, a tablespoon that is here. Although I didn't even measure before I poured it in, but it's roughly 1 tablespoon. Okay, exactly. And this 1 tablespoon of the cashew nuts going in here. I think I'm just going everything because what is left is not much. Besides, it's healthy nuts, so you can never go wrong with it. Then coconuts. We're going in with 1/2 cup of coconut. So this is my 1/2 cup measure. I'm going to measure 1/2 cup of coconut to this. And that's just about everything I have measured here. So just pouring it in like so. All right. Now we whisk again. So we're just whisking, giving it a good mix and letting everything really combine. I'm already loving what this is looking like before we even get started. So before I continue adding the wet ingredients, I want to turn on the pan. I'm using a non-stick pan for this recipe. As simple as possible. So my non-stick pan is there. I want to turn on the light. I'll turn on the heat to it so that it can start getting heated up before we continue, so that it will be hot enough for us to put our cookies inside. All right, so I'm putting it on low medium heat. Yep. Yeah, so that's it. Now we can go in with other ingredients. So for the dates, we're going to be adding 1/2 cup of this blended dates. 1/2 cup goes in like so. Okay, let me keep this aside. Make sure I have everything out. All right, and then we're going in with our milk. 1/8 cup of milk goes right in here. 1/8. Yep. For the milk. And then crack open the egg. I didn't introduce the egg. I apologize. So egg is a binder. It just brings everything together, right? And it helps with the texture and the flavor of the cookie. Without egg in a cookie, I just feel it just tastes so boring. So egg just gives it that richness of depth and flavor. So this is egg. Let me put one egg into the mixture. Right. So this is the egg we have here. All right. So we're going to set this aside so that we can have space. All right. So I'm going to stir at this point. Then we continue adding the other ingredients. So let's go in with honey. I'm going with 1 tablespoon of honey, 1 tablespoon of honey. Good. Here we have this, and done with this. Now at this point, I'm going to have to use my hands, but let me just add the water first. So I'm going to go in. The recipe calls for half cup of water, but I'm going to start with 1/4 cup of water. In fact, half of it first of all, because it's already looking sticky. So that will be about 1/8 of a cup of water, first of all, and then 1/8 cup of oil, and that settles it. So I've gone in with our vegetable olive oil, and this is about it, right? I hope everything is anything. So let me just carefully bring this out of the whisk and then give it a good mix with my hands. Now I'm mixing to combine everything together. Can you see what this looks like? Let me show you exactly what we have here. Can you see it? I see it, right? Good. It's a little messy, but this is good messy. I like this kind of messy because the results always amazing and divine. It smells good already. Can't wait. So that's about it. Now, what I need to do is to grease up the pan that is already heating up on fire and let the work begin. So I'm just gonna, okay. So this is a very, very healthy and simple snack to make. All right, let's get to it. Wow, you can see the pan is already hot. Right. This is how you want it. Put in the olive oil, nice, and spread it round into the pan so that even if it's a non-stick pan, at least you won't have any issue of sticking. Yeah. And I just pick up like so. If you've made puff puff before, just assume you're making puff puff, Nigerian puff puff. Dip it in. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done dipping into the pan. It's our easy homemade cookies. All right. So this is what it looks like. It's already having this flavorful aroma. Yeah, so this is it. So we're just going to cover it up and let the heat work its magic. This is already hot. Yeah. I'm going to turn down the heat a little to make sure it doesn't get burnt while I set this aside. All right, so at this point, I'm going to show you what it should look like when it's ready. It's exactly what you're expecting to get at the end of everything. Isn't this just nice? Isn't this just delicious looking? It doesn't just look delicious, it tastes absolutely delicious. Just look at the inside. It just screams healthy snack. And tastes absolutely healthy as well. Healthy and delicious. Exactly. So you can pair this with zobo or kunu or tea, whatever drink, healthy drink you have. Just go for it. You can never go wrong. Hope you can see this. You can never go wrong with this easy and healthy snack. So I hope you make yours. Tag it Beryl on your Instagram page or Facebook page, and let me see what you do with this. Thank you so much for watching today. And make sure that you join us tomorrow, because at 4 p.m. tomorrow, we're going to have another live bread making session where we will show you that making bread does not have to be difficult. With your easy and simple kitchen equipment and the two hands God has given you, you're going to make a delicious sandwich loaf. Yeah, I just reviewed the project we have for tomorrow. It's a sandwich loaf. So make sure you come and join our class tomorrow. Stay tuned and see you another time. Have a nice day. Bye for now.